now we're losing resources. Oil. As long as we can keep the channels of trade open, though, I'm not that bothered about building up a massive surplus. Grow rubber plantations in Madagascar. Add production 8 in Madagascar. Interesting. Realise European unity. Though the concept of a political unified Europe has only gained semblance of traction in the past few decades, our recent conquest of the most powerful continental European nations presents us with an unexpected reality, perhaps a restructuring the nations required to take full advantage of all of the opportunities there. France becomes known as the European Union. Luxembourg becomes a core. All French, Italian and German states become cores. What? Have to control all Dutch, Belgian, French, Italian and German. And that's control, not own, control. Although getting the Dutch ones would be difficult without declaring war on them. Took a hospital support company early on. Do I add that to all division types, just infantry? Generally all, but especially infantry. How's my heavy tank production coming? Slowly. Yeah, that was my concern. Huzzah! Unsung D, thank you very much for the 4-month resubscription. Hello, General Mordred. Very much appreciate that, Unsung. Thank you very much. Alright, military factories are done. Yunnan joins the Chinese United Front, so China grows stronger. Well, let's get the extra research slot, and then we're going to start down the... Well, what's more important at this point? Research or fortifications? I'm actually going to say fortifications. In times like these, it is best to strengthen our defences. If there are threats, let them come to us so we can deal with them on our own lands. We have the perfect candidate to lead our army. All we need is your word. And now I am going to produce more heavy tanks and more guns. And I'm going to start producing fighter ones. Because I have a massive deficit to overcome here. You can realise European unity only if you are democratic as well. Interesting. Getting close. Alright, we're out of fuel. And so I'm going to stop you drilling for a moment while the fuel situation gets remedied. How are we doing in terms of the naval production? We are finishing off those early cruisers, and then we'll finish off the big guns, the big ships. Fair enough. Italians are starting to mass on this border, so we need to bolster our defences down here. Looks like the British Expeditionary Force is arriving. Yep. Do this again. Right. I need to say you actually have a job which is going to be holding Paris. And then I go to here, click on that, click on you. Yeah, there we go. And now you'll automatically be added to my training division. Did the armies of Europe conscript a lot more people in the lead up to World War II than previously? Feels strange they start with a deficit of guns otherwise. They have a deficit of guns because they have a large standing army, but not a very well equipped one. So it wasn't so much about them equipping people, it's just that they weren't producing weapons. I suspect that a large portion of the French budget went on the Maginot. Oh, that was one of the interesting facts actually that came up from the World War II channel. Is, I don't know if this was generally true, but certainly for at least one of the bunkers, and I suspect it's true for most, is Germany spent more money on the ammunition used to breach the citadels than the citadels actually cost to build. I thought that was fascinating. Like, that's some good cost effectiveness right there. So even though Maginot might feel like it would be super expensive, it actually cost the Germans more in terms of financial and production output to breach those defences than the defences cost to build. In just ammunition, let alone lives and the strategic time it takes to defeat those defences, just in terms of like the economic output was more expensive. I thought that was kind of interesting. Not really a facet I'd considered before. You know what, we should also choose our air doctrine. We should probably do that now. More so than the naval. Okay, so let me get the book of notes I have so I can make a decent choice as to which air doctrine we should go for. So, I did promise yesterday during the Dutch stream that I would talk about the air doctrine analysis at some point, and this seems like a decent enough time to do so. So if you are interested in the naval overview, I should probably go through that video on demand and just like cut that segment out because it's quite good. But anyway, the air doctrine. So we have strategic, battlefield support, and operational integrity. In terms of fighters, I would say that they are all relatively equal. Operational integrity does have the best fighter detection, so they're going to be the best at detecting and then shooting down enemy fighters. They're also the best at detecting bombers to shoot them down, with the exception of strategic destruction if they go that path. If they go this path, then operational integrity is still better for that. In terms of air support efficiency, operational integrity is kind of middling. Battlefield support has by far the best air superiority, either 50 or 65 depending on which branch of these you take. And strategic destruction has either 30 or 50 depending on which of these. You can either have better air superiority or better interception depending on what you're up against. Interception, by the way, is also anti-close air support, which I hadn't realised. I thought that interception was just going to be against tactical bombers and strategic bombers doing strategic bombing. It's not. It's also anti-ground support. Strategic efficiency, totally unsurprising. Strategic destruction has hands down the best. And the operational integrity strategic bombing, no bonus, except for a 20% bonus with tactical bombers, but against the 40 or 50% that strategic destruction get for all bombing, that just seems rubbish. Escort efficiency strategic destruction gets, which I think decreases the chance that a bomber will be hit rather than a fighter when the two are fighting side by side. Both strategic destruction and operational integrity have better fighters and heavy fighters, while the battlefield support have the better close air support. Operational integrity gets no extra experience from running a mission, while both battlefield support and strategic destruction do. Battlefield support gets the most. However, operational integrity does get more experience when training. But I have a feeling that was a fairly late bonus. It's one they always get. Where is it? Or is it? Operational integrity. I'm looking in the wrong place. It's one of these. Training experience gain. Yeah, it's all the way down here. And you'd really be expecting to train your air wings before the war breaks out. In terms of special abilities, strategic bombing has the nighttime bombing penalty minus 50% if you take this branch. So doing bombs at nighttime basically means you'll take no or very few bomber casualties. And your bombers have a higher defense, which means they're harder to shoot down anyway. The battlefield support has a higher, much higher air support bonus, which means they'll do a ton more damage when they're actually bombing ground targets. Operational integrity also has an air support bonus, but it's very low. Operational integrity has a strategic bombing visibility reduction. So while this one's better at night, this one's better just all round. Your bombers are less likely to be spotted and shot down. And it also has a bomber defense bonus, but not as high as strategic destruction. So I think we're going to go battlefield support. I'm not expecting to do much strategic bombing. That's going to be Britain. Operational integrity, I just don't rate. It just doesn't do anything that's particularly interesting. So yeah, battlefield support. We'll do that. So hopefully that analysis makes things a little clearer. I know it's a lot of numbers. This is just classic Hearts of Iron spreadsheeting at this point. But it's an analysis I'd meant to do for quite a long time and I just never got around to it. So if you have any questions about the different doctrines, let me know. I'll see what I can do to answer. I've always imagined Maginot as a white elephant, but had the Ardennes offensive not been so exceptional, Maginot would have been really good. It wasn't so much that the Ardennes offensive was successful, it's the guy who was in charge of Sedan abandoned Maginot. He just gave an evacuation order and left. So when the Germans came to attack it, they found it empty. And it was this dude, Hunsinger, who gave that order. Which is why he's relegated to my Africa Corps. Because I definitely don't want him anywhere near my Maginot. Which one is best? That's entirely dependent on context. So if you're playing as the US or probably Britain, who do a lot of bombing, almost certainly strategic. If you're playing as someone who wants a lot more air support for battles, like France and Germany, combat support. And if you're going to be doing strategic bombing with tactical bombers, because they're slightly cheaper, then I guess operational integrity? But if you have the resources to strategic bomb, why not just use strategic bombers? Concentrated industry is done. Cool, so that's all of those. It is still November 37. So we're getting close. Unfortunately, this didn't happen like 4 days later. I mean, I could, I guess, start on, say, computing machine. Yeah, I think I will. Get that research bonus going early. Radio. That's a 39. Could do radar, would help our fighters. Yeah, you know what? Let's. Not going AT. No, I'm not. Because I'm planning for my frontline divisions to have a heavy tank battalion in each one. And actually, to that end, I need to edit you. I need to duplicate you. And we need to call this Division Tanks. No, we're not calling it that. This is a classic Infantry mit Panzerunterstützung division. What shall I call this? In fact, I'm going to edit you. I'm going to change that symbol slightly to the skull. I'm going to edit you, duplicate you, change that to this one, which is like the final form. And we'll call this Infantry Cuirassé, okay? I can't do the squiggly thing, so it's just going to be that. No, it's not going to be a cheese omelette. And then there are... Oh, nuts! That requires more points. And requires 40 heavy tanks per, but that's certainly doable and attainable. Okay, so we need something which gives us 20 army experience. Which of course these aren't going to do, are they? 5. Oh, bugger. Basically, we're not going to have heavy tanks until the war itself actually breaks out. Unless I continue training my entire army again. just to grind the experience. Camera froze. Oh, for Pete's sake. I restarted you! Alright, sod it. This is too far into the stream. Nah, sod it. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. I always lose a massive chunk of my viewers when I do this restart. It's irritating as hell. Sort out the focus of this stupid camera. Down to 88. So this time, like usually I stop streaming and I have a feeling that's why a lot of people leave. This time I just closed OBS. So it looks to Twitch at least as a temporary outage. We'll see. 112 viewers. Let's see how many we lose. Oh, we've actually gained 5. 117. Oh man, that took too long. See you later. Well, apparently a lot of people are very, very impatient usually. But I'll see if that's because I pressed stop streaming as opposed to just closing OBS. Italy announces claims on Yugoslavian territory. Speaking to the Italian populations along the Dalmatian coast, Benito Mussolini has announced that Italy fully considers Italian-speaking territory in Yugoslavia to be a rightful part of Italy. It is December, so we have 3 months until we can get defensive stratagems. Fortification focus. As critical as our forts have been, we need to find ways to construct them more efficiently. The Maginot Line has been a powerful deterrent of enemy forces. We should use the security of more defences like it. And we can modify our government. Oh, we can get Weygand. He's well cheap. No, I need to start working towards changing my industry. And there we go. We lost 30. Down to 88. Told you. I always lose a massive chunk of viewers whenever that camera crashes. And I have to restart. Indian National Congress triumphs in provincial elections. In the recent local elections, the Indian National Congress has achieved an overwhelming majority of their platform of slow and ordered transition of local government and dominion status in the future. How are we doing for the training? You guys are all still training, that's fine. What about you? You guys are all done, so stop. And that's at least one more submarine unit. Move you up there. And you change to submarine. Okay, good. Now you lot can continue training, hopefully. Kiss goodbye to my fuel supplies. Maharo, thank you very much for the bits. I appreciate that. 40 people lost now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very much appreciate that. Next time, just remove the face cam for the rest of the session. Yeah, I wish I had. We need more bright orange shirt. This muted coloured up shirt is not up to our standards. Well, we're not playing as the Dutch. Okay, fuel has now run out again. So we can't really afford to have this whole thing running at the same time. In fact, did I actually save your templates? No, of course I didn't. That would be too easier. Carrier. And this one is channel. No, I have each. Well, I'm going to continue buying in oil because it feels ridiculous to me that you can keep drilling people even if they have no oil. Oh right, my Air Force is still training, and I'll bet that they are done. Almost. Now we're gaining. It does say it's positive. Current consumption 1.1 a day. Why is it saying it's going up? When it's clearly not. It's lying. Oh, I can actually be buying from the UK now. Hold up. Let's do that. Now it's going up. There we go. Yugoslavia requests sale of aeroplanes. Realising a strategic weakness, the Yugoslavian Air Force has initiated a crash program to modernise and expand its force. Significant money reserves have been set aside to cover the purchase. A commission is travelling around Europe to look for new sources of fighters and medium bombers. Given the urgency of the issue, the Yugoslavians have insisted on immediate delivery or transfer of planes directly from the producer. Approve the sale of bombers from our reserves. Divert fighters. So for 120 days our fighters are slightly more expensive, or we immediately send out 25 tactical bombers. I'm not actually producing tactical bombers. I don't really have an intention of producing tactical bombers either, so as soon as those are gone, then they're gone. Yeah, we can have them. We do actually still have a surplus. And we have apparently finished building our stuff again. So let's build one more set of infrastructure to connect these areas, I guess. Let's get Poitiers. Savoy really needs it. Well, Savoy doesn't need that much. Let's get Savoy up to a level 8. Yeah, let's do that. Paradox Games lying to you. I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. How does the Asian sphere look like? Not a lot has changed yet. Hopefully this time China can actually resist the Japanese, though I have not yet actually seen that happen at all. Oh, hey, I could dismantle Maginot. We should totally do that. I hear it's completely pointless. You actually get land fort construction speed of plus 20. Alsace-Lorraine set fort level to 2. No, not doing that. That's a terrible idea. You know what? As much as I really want to get a massive surplus of equipment, I want to have the heavy tanks in my divisions more. So we're going to start training. Alright, January 38. Now I really need to start militarizing. You guys are ready for duty. I'm going to add you to the Alpine line. And there's the fortification focus. Perfect. Right, so land forts. I would like a bunch. Say level 4s here. Anschluss of Austria after a successful coup d'etat by the local Nazi party in Vienna. German troops have crossed the Austrian border and taken control of the country. And when's this available? 28th or something? 24th. So 14 days. So I'm basically wasting 7 days of focus time, but yeah, that's fine. Benito Mussolini today announced that Italy would no longer consider herself bound by the naval treaties she had once signed. The world situation, he said, has made the choice inevitable. Italy has apparently received reliable reports that several neighbouring countries have begun aggressive naval expansion programs that threaten legitimate interests in the area. The Italian Admiralty has refused to comment on rumours that several ships currently under construction are already planned without treaty restrictions in mind. We should review our own participation. And yeah, I know there's a focus for it. Hirohito today announced that Japan would no longer consider herself bound by naval treaties she had signed. The world situation, he said, that made the choice inevitable. So the thing with the Alpine forts, I am gambling on the fact that they add forts as opposed to setting fort level to something. Because it's cheaper to build the low level forts than it is to build them higher level. Every level you build is 500 more expensive. So if I can get the first 4 levels built, and then add another 2 or 3 free ones, and those 2 or 3 free ones will be cheaper than building after we get the free ones. So now, Levée en masse would also be really nice, and that does give us the extra army. In fact, all of these give us army experience. I had not realised it was each of them, so that's 5, 10, 15, 25. I need 20. Do it. All men and women who can fight will do so. Producing weapons in mass will lower the cost, and we put a rifle in the hands of everyone. They add fort levels, at least the last time it's played as France. Okay, good. That is what I was hoping to hear. Écoutez. Just finishing off the Savoy air defences. No longer get the effects of strengthened government support. I'm an idiot. I was waiting for defensive stratagems. Let's cancel that and get defensive stratagems instead. If we want the people of France to fight a war for us, it is more important than ever that we have a clear direction. We must stop fighting amongst ourselves and fight for France and liberté, égalité and fraternité instead. Ooh, that'll let me send volunteers. We might be able to save Spain and get points for it. That's interesting. We could also send a military attaché to China, which would also generate army experience.
Attention.
How many divisions do I have compared to the Germans? We are at 73 compared to their 70 odd, but 17, 18, 19, 23 of ours aren't very good. So we're actually about 50, so they outnumber us by about 20 at the moment. If any bombers left, sent to Spain for the experience. That's not a bad idea. Radio detection. I think I now want to get close air support researched. Well, it's 38, so we should probably do these as well. No, let's get close air support. We already have it. Really? We have good close air support naval bombers and tactical bombers, but crap fighters? Interesting.